So, good evening to an absolute delightful select few people on our webinar this evening. So, we have asked our guest, I'm going to be honest, how do you say, oh, your middle name has gone now. So, how do you say your name properly? Because if I even try, I'm going to make a mess of it.
You can try and we can have some fun.
Okay, so to me it looks like Ivan, but I've kind of heard you say it's Ivan. Is it how you say it? Dimitriov.
Dimitrov. Well, let me tell you how I say it. It's Ivan Nikolaev Dimitrov.
Ivan Nikolaev Dimitrov.
Yeah.
Not bad for a.
You're doing great.
So we have the lovely What He Said joining us this evening for for our webinar, and we were just kind of having a little discussion and talking about how we listen when we share these principles, and about how helpful it is to take people back to the beginning. So I would really love for you to share, if you don't mind, what that sounds like to you, Ivan. What would you say to somebody new to this?
How should they listen? How it's better to listen to this, or
anything that's occurring to you, what it is they're listening to and how they should listen. Maybe start with how they should listen and then start talking about what they will be listening to.
Well, this is first of all, one of the things I noticed that is helpful, especially when I go to a training, is if I'm looking for a particular answer, or if I'm looking if what they're saying is true, I would usually use what I know to listen. So I would check if what they're saying is true for me. But I feel like this kind of listening sometimes gets in the way, because you're listening to what you already know, and you're not letting something new come, and you can start arguing with what they say, and you could be arguing with your own thoughts, and you will miss what they were actually saying. So what I feel is helpful when you get into this kind of conversation is to just let everything you think you know, just like put it outside, and after everything finishes, you can just pick it up if you want to, if you feel like it's still true for you, you know. um I'm gonna start with I don't know where I want to start, so I will just share what the three principles understanding did for me, and why I found it helpful for me.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah. So I was ever since I was a teenager, I was looking for um, something that is helpful for me, because I was struggling with panic attacks, with anxiety and stuff like that. And I felt like I lost my way, and I was looking for something helpful. And during this search, I uh, I actually I had help, and I found this um, internal interest about life, and I started following that interest in life, and that brought me to I went into a medical university. I was interested in healing,
Mm-hmm.
in the philosophy of healing, and and I was studying that. I was learning that more and more. I was diving into it, but I still wasn't finding what I was looking for. And I found homeopathy, and I was really interested in the philosophy of homeopathy. I was really interested into the dynamic force that is behind life. That is, they were saying that the dynamic force is the thing that is healing you, the thing that is doing all the work, and that was interesting for me. I was also interested in all the people that were attending these trainings, because I could see that they have seen something for themselves, something inside of them that was interesting, something inside of them that was beyond what you can mm, beyond what you can explain, but you could somehow feel it in the stories they were telling, and the way they were telling it, and all the things they were seeing. You could feel that. And that was the first thing uh, that I liked, but I couldn't really put into words until after I um, saw the principles. So one day I was going through YouTube and watching different videos. I was in my head, and I just wanted to drop all of these things. And the thing I was doing was I wanted to drop it through watching some videos, not thinking about the things I was thinking about. So I saw a video of this guy, Ian Watson, who you've heard.
Yeah.
And I knew him from the homeopathic community, and I was interested in what he had to say. And he said that he stopped doing homeopathy and he was going in a different direction, which was really interesting for me, because, and I was really shocked by it, because for me homeopathy was everything. For me, it was it was the thing I was going to do in my life. It was my life's mission. And I was really shocked that there is someone who will drop this and go in a different direction, which made me interested.
Because
So now I got in.
he was quite successful in his field. Ian Watson.
Yeah, he
very
was
well.
he was well known and respected in the field.
Yeah.
So he told that he was doing these three principles work. And for me, what I've seen in psychology was, I thought that it was a smart technique that probably has it probably is a smart technique. It probably helps people, but I'm not really interested, because I know that the thing that really helps is this dynamic force I was learning about. This dynamic force that does the whole work for us. And I started watching videos, listening. At that time I was having some arguments with some issues with a friend, and I was going. Actually, that was the thing I was trying to get off my mind.
Yeah.
And in a moment, I just, while I was listening to the videos, I just heard that the only way I could experience the problems we were having with my friend and the arguments we had in the past was through our thoughts. So in a moment I saw what I was doing. I saw that the only way I could have an experience is through thought, and I was using that my ability to feel anger, to feel frustrated. And the interesting thing about what this experience showed me was that the only way, the only thing that is helpful, the only thing that really matters is what you see. And from what you see, then the logic behind what you see starts to unfold and you get an experience. it's so in a way there is we're using this energy to create our experience, to create a to see the world, and then we get to experience it, and then we forget that we created the world. And then we try to fix it. You know this quote from David Bohm that says um, thought creates our world and then says I didn't do it. It's something like that.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So that got me interested. What are these three principles? What did I see? I thought I was kind of laughing sheepishly about what I was doing with my mind. So the first thing I thought is that I found a way to the first thing I thought is that I found a way to change my thoughts to well-being all the time. So I turned it into another mission that I need to change my thoughts. Now I found a way to change my thoughts into well-being, which is really far away from what these principles are really trying to say. And I was watching videos for 4 months. I was just diving into this. I was like a sponge that I was trying to soak in everything I could find. And then on going through the website of Ian Watson, I saw that he's coming to Sofia for a workshop. And I was really excited. I said, I'm definitely going there. And I went there, I met him. I loved the workshop. I told him I'm interested in your training, went and did the training with him. I went for the training. I took the it was like after 3 days after meeting him, I signed up for his training. I did the facilitator training in London. So I had to travel from Bulgaria to London all the time, like for 9 months. I was traveling. And what I started to see is something bigger than needing to change something. I started to see more and more and feel more and more that there is it's much deeper than this. That actually I don't have to do anything to go back into well-being. That well-being is something that is wherever I go because it's inside me. And now it started to I started to see that I don't have to acquire it in any way. And also I saw another thing that was interesting, that I have this internal guiding system inside me that is always telling me the way to well-being, is telling me how far am I from well-being, which was also interesting because now I have my own internal guidance system. I don't have to listen to anyone. I don't have to go to a training. I don't have to acquire anything from internal system, just guide me. And also another thing that is interesting is that every answer I'm going to need will always come through me. And when I started seeing that, when I started to realize that, I realized that this is the way I want to work with people. I started to realize that that is really what makes a big difference for people, and I don't have to do anything for them. I can just show them the things I've seen, which is also an interesting thing. You cannot, you have to, you have to see it for yourself.
Mm.
It's an experiential learning. And this is why I said in the beginning that it's always good to leave what you know at the front door, and you can always pick it up. It's, you haven't lost it, but you can, you can let your have you can let yourself have a new thought, to see something new. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that's lovely. It's a beautiful description. Really, really nice. Absolutely lovely. And yeah, like you say, very much when you sort of said at the beginning, what you heard was that you could now change your thinking and have the thinking that you wanted all the time. And I think that is a really, really common thing that we hear at first. And yet, even when we're hearing those kind of things, it's still helpful in those stages, in that moment. You know, we see something, anything that we see is helpful, because it's our stuff. You know, we're seeing that from within us, and it's where we are in that moment, and it's helpful, and it feels, that was my experience. What I see in that moment is helpful for me. It says my internet is unstable. Is this true? Am I a little unstable?
No, you're perfect.
Even if my internet's not unstable, we don't know whether I am or not. But that's
Well, yeah, yeah.
Now, I know, and this is a question that I've been asked, so I'd be really interesting. It's like you kind of said, when you saw this for yourself, you realised that, you know, you don't, there's nothing that you have to know, and you don't have to go to a training. And then you kind of said, I would like to work with people using this understanding. And I know this is one of those kind of weird paradoxes that we kind of get into, that it's kind of like, I mean, I met you at Viva, where we sat and we listened to a lot of people speaking. We had, you know, it was really great fun to be in this conversation. And yet we both know that what we see from within ourselves is the most helpful. So will you talk a little bit around that, the fact that we do trainings and we do this kind of thing, and yet what we're actually pointing people towards is something they already have? What do you see around that?
Well, first of all, I started to see that I'm still going to trainings. I still do, like we met at Viva, but I I go because I'm interested in something. I
Mm.
don't go because I need to go somewhere. It comes from a different place. I am, to tell you the truth, I don't go with any agenda, with any thinking around it. I just feel like going there, and I'm interested in what the person has to say. And the other part of my, what we're talking about, you can never really get into the, like, you can never get to the end and say, okay, I have arrived, I know where I am. Even though I sometimes I really feel like I wanna I wanna find the end, which when I say that, you know, when we find the end, it's the end. So when I think about it, I don't really want to find it. It's so we've been given the ticket to an unending journey,
Mm.
and we can only go deeper and deeper, and see more and more about this understanding, see more and more that, and it's really interesting because we, we don't really the interesting thing about thought is, even if you've seen that it's thought that is creating your reality, because thought is creating your reality, you sometimes, you not sometimes, you will always forget that, and you will always think that you will always feel that you're living in this world and this is the world that you're living in. But from time to time, a new thought would pop up, and you will see that this world is nothing like the thing you're seeing now.
Mm.
And then you see another one and another one, and in this seeing, your your life becomes richer, your life becomes, it becomes more interesting. It's kind of a, it was the thing. When I got into the principles, I wasn't really, I was so I was kind of seeing, is it really thought or something else? So I think that it's uh, in even at the beginning, it felt more of an exploration than something to get at the end at. And I feel like it's really more interesting that way.
Yeah, I know that we kind of, we have a lot of fun with what we're doing, and it's very much kind of like, it's like playing a game. What could,
Yeah,
you know,
you look like you're having fun. Yeah, that's one of the first things that I noticed, which was like joy is beaming from all of you. Like it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of, for the longest time I had quite a miserable life and I was very serious, and then, for me, when I came across this, life feels like an adventure, and it is very much like you say, it's a game. Is this thought too? Could this be thought as well? Could this be thought as well? And kind of seeing our amazing creative ability, what we can do, from that understanding. And it's just a fun game, isn't it?
Yeah.
A never-ending fun game.
Forgetting and coming back to it again,
Mm.
and forgetting.
Mm.
But you could feel that. Yeah, you can feel the joy that is coming from a person. I think it's kind of like a radiant thing that is, yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Mm. What would you say that the biggest thing that's changed in your life since you came across this understanding? If you kind of, I know we can't really do pre-principles because we are the principles in action, but before you sort of came across this, before you'd seen this to now, what would you say is the biggest difference in you?
Well, like I said, one of the things before the principles, I was, let's say, interested in spirituality, and I was interested in what's behind life, and I had my intellectual understanding of it. But when I saw this, when I think about it now, it all made sense for me. It kind of completed the, let's say, the puzzle or something like that.
Mm.
And it was interesting to see to feel this kind of feeling, this this knowing inside me, to 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 know what you saw and to not know how to put it in words. To know what you, it's like you you know it's something that is in all of us.
Mm.
And that's the other interesting thing. How do you know that it's something in all of us? I well, I see it now, but it's interesting how you know this thing, how you know that it's it's in all of us. Maybe it's because I don't know, because it is us, because it is us.
Mm.
And it's really hard to tell you what exactly changed, but from time to time, um, I just wake up to see that I'm doing things differently. I remember coming back from the UK, and I was taking a flight, which I don't know how to call it. It's you go to one place and from there you take another flight to. So I had a layover. I had a layover in Berlin, but I had only 40 minutes, and I was wondering if I'm going to be able to take the other plane back to Bulgaria. And just as we are landing, and I have 40 minutes, the pilot goes to the radio and says, "Well, we're going to do another round in Berlin because we have to let another plane just arrive before us because there was a medical emergency or something like that." I was like, the first thought that came to my mind was, "Oh my God, I'm going to I'm going to miss my flight." And the second thought was, well, this will be really exciting. I will take a I will hitchhike to Sofia. I don't know. I don't. It was a. It was an insane thought that would never have entered my mind. It was like, I'm going to hitchhike to Sofia. I don't care that I'm going to. I was kind of excited that I'm gonna miss my flight because I'm going to. I never. I did it when I was a teenager. I was doing that. But it was only short distances. It was only in my country. It just came. I will do that. I don't care. which which is an interesting thing. Um, but well, maybe the thing that was really helpful was to see that I was um, I was a workaholic in my mind. I was not a workaholic in my everyday life, but I was doing all the work in my mind. I
Mm.
was doing all the things, and when I saw this, I suddenly had a lot of energy to do other things, because before that I felt like I was so tired and so exhausted from everything I was thinking after I got off work, because when you're at work you don't think about your life, you're doing your work. But when you get out of work, you start thinking about all the things you have to do, you haven't do, you should do. And suddenly I saw why I was so tired all the time,
Yeah.
why I was so anxious all the time, why I was so miserable all the time, you know. And at that time I was doing a lot of qigong. So it's a Chinese practice,
Okay.
meditative practice. And while I would do that, my mind would quiet down,
Mm.
and I would feel with me. And I would like, the system would shut down, because it needed the rest. Now it can have the rest that it needed all the time. And when I got out of the practice, my mind would start doing the same things. So I got hooked on this practice. I have to do it. I have to do it in the morning, and I have to do it in the evening. And I have to do it every day. Because if I don't do it, then I won't have the peace I want. And that was the other interesting thing I see, is that the only thing that is the variable in what is actually the thing that is actually happening is that just my mind quiets. It has nothing to do with the practice, because I saw that sometimes I would do the practice and I would have the busy mind, and when I stopped doing the practice, I would I was just hooked on it, and I saw that I don't need it. And the funny thing is that I continued to do the practice after I discovered the principles, but now I do it because it's interesting for me. I don't have to do it. I can enjoy it more.
Yeah, it's a way better place to do something from, isn't it? You know, if you just think, hey, I like that, I can do that just because I like it, but there's nothing riding on it. It's not, if I miss that, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm not gonna have any peace, so I have to do it. It's quite a different place to do something from. And it is really interesting to see, to begin to see that it's not those things that we do, you know, that one of the things that I've seen, you know, with us, we hang out a lot together, and Lucy and Beck live here, and it's very interesting when we kind of see events and things happening, whatever they are, you know, normal everyday things, and how we view them differently. And it's kind of, it wakes you up to the fact that things don't make you feel a certain way, because if something made you feel a certain way, we would all feel the same about it. And it's really interesting, you know, when something happens, like, I don't know, after we've cooked tea or anything, you know, someone kind of says, right, you know, we've got to clear up now, and somebody is like, nah, we can clear up later. And some, you know, when we have these different views of how it should be, it's really interesting to kind of see that we can, you know, we can think anything, we can all have these different views, and our feelings, that, you know, they don't come from things. I think Andrea has said something in the chat, I noticed. Let's have a look. Oh, she said she loved that, thank you, she loved what you were saying. Yeah, it's well, lovely.
Thank you for being here, Andrea. We welcome every new person that comes.
We've got a very select, this is absolutely,
a fine collection of,
a fine collection. Only the very best, the cream of people are on this call, and this is very select.
I want to come back to the things, the first question you asked me about listening. I don't know, I don't actually remember what you asked me, but it was something about listening, and I really like to talk about the listening part of this. Cool. And it's really interesting because when I started to get into this understanding more and more, I started to see that I'm not so caught up in my experience and in my thoughts. So I wasn't so shocked by my feelings, especially when I knew from where they were coming from. But even if I didn't know, I would still think that it is thought. It can't come from any other place. So in terms of listening, when, for example, when you're in an argument with someone and you're not really, and when you see that you're, for example, you're angry and you have all these thinking about what this person did and what they shouldn't have done and stuff like that. And when you know that you are not in your right place, because we have this internal guidance system
Mm.
that says, you know, you're not in the right place. So I learned to listen to the feeling. I learned to listen that, okay, I'm not in the right feeling right now. Maybe I should listen more. Maybe I should, maybe this is not the best thinking I'm having right now in the moment. This is a small thing, but it could be a really big thing for people I've seen.
Mm.
It could be a really big thing. Okay, I'm angry now, but I don't have to follow that anger. Okay, I think these nasty thoughts about this person, but maybe I don't have to follow these thoughts. Maybe I can drop them. Maybe I can just listen to them and say, okay, this is not the right thing to do. But we can hold another ear for something new. So okay, I'm going to be angry and I'm going to listen with this ear, but I'm also going to be listening with this ear if there's something, if if something more helpful is in it. Because I saw that the thing we really want is to feel okay on the inside.
Yeah.
We don't want to be in a confrontation with someone.
Mm.
We we don't want that. We want to work together in a way.
Yeah.
I think that this is intuitive for people, but we override this knowing by these, our cluttered mind is overriding our own knowing that we want to feel connected to one another. We want to feel good to one another. And when we have this in mind, we have a broader perspective. We can listen more. And I saw that, and I see it more and more, that I can explore what makes sense to me through listening. Listening is, it's like letting what you really need come front, even if you don't know what you're, even if you don't know what you want, even if you don't know where you're going. When you just open this ear and you say like, let's see what else is there. With whatever problem we have, let's just see what else is there. You and this is the part when you let go of everything you know.
Mm.
You become interested in something more than what you know. So, and to say it simply, listening is being interested in life, interested in this unlimited potential that we all come from, this infinite potential that is there all the time. And it is always there to give us what we need.
That is just beautiful. That is really, really beautiful and so true. And that listening, what was occurring to me when you were saying that is we can listen to ourselves in that way. You know, like you say, we can be in conflict with another, and it makes sense to get quiet and listen, not to argue. But it also, when our own mind is getting frantic and kind of going round and round in circles, it feels like there are limited things that just keep, you know, it's this or it's this, it's this or it's this. And yet when we listen to ourselves, we see it opens us up to the truth of who we are, and we see that the options that we were looking at were just the small, tiny options that was what we thought that all there were. And yet it's infinite when we just get quiet and listen and don't get caught in that yada, 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 yada that goes on in our mind. Yeah.
Well, that is one of the things that is really magical for me, is to see something new.
Mm.
Because we sometimes, well, one of the biggest problems when we face a problem is that we don't think there is a new possibility. We don't think that there is something new there.
Mm.
We don't even have, we don't even it doesn't even occur to us to open the other ear to listen to something new.
Mm.
And it's interesting, even if we don't open the ear, sometimes something just comes up for us.
Mm.
And I like how the mind does the hard work for us.
Yeah.
Because when you try to come up with something, it's nearly impossible to come up with something.
Mm.
And the way I got into this kind of work, if I had to make the choice to get into this kind of work, I would have never done it. It would have never occurred to in my mind.
Me neither.
This was the last thing on my mind. I always wanted to help people, but yeah, just that's the beauty of it, because we're living our lives and we think that this is our lives and these are what our lives are going to be. But there is this whole, it's there is this whole other world out there that we don't even have an idea about it.
Mm. Yeah.
And through time there were a lot of interesting situations that people thought the world was working in one way, and after 100 years it was they saw that it was actually working the exact opposite way.
Mm.
For example, we thought that the whole universe was going around us. We thought we were in the center of the universe. That's and this is what I like about the quote from David Bohm. Thought creates your world, and then says, I didn't do it.
It's amazing what is available to us if we just take a breath and let that something new, that something different in. And it is, you know, the times that I have seen that I'm chewing on a problem, you know, and I suppose the definition of a problem is that we haven't seen a solution, because if we've seen a solution, it's no more a problem, is it? It's kind of like, and I'm looking through, it's like I don't know, going through the rubbish, isn't it? You're trying to find something good and you're just looking through the rubbish, and it's like, no. And when I'm reminded to just stop doing that, and like you say, because this amazing universe that we've been born into, it does so much of the heavy lifting for us.
I remember a guy using a metaphor that was really interesting for solving problems. So you go into this dark room and you have this flashlight and you're looking for the thing you're looking for, and you have this flashlight and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking and you cannot find it. And then at one point it occurs to you that just to turn the switch on and you maybe you can see the whole room, you know. When we get into our heads and we're trying to, like you said, going through the rubbish, when you get into your head, you go through the rubbish and you're like, where is the solution of this that I'm looking for? Where is it? And you go through the rubbish and you go, and you use the flashlight, and then you kind of, it kind of occurs to you to just back down a little bit, just stop for a minute, and then you kind of regain the feeling, you kind of regain your clarity of mind, and then the whole room lights up.
Mm.
And the other thing that is interesting for me, I want to share, is sometimes we have things, we have thoughts about ourselves that we think it's true. It all because these thoughts were with us all our lives. We were thinking about, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am. And at one point, you see, maybe this is not who I am. Maybe, for example, maybe I'm not a shy person.
Mm.
Maybe I'm not an insecure person. And it's interesting how when you have a new thought about yourself, you change. Your whole image about you changes. And I really like this quote from, I don't know from who it is, but it's it doesn't matter if the cave was in darkness for 5 minutes or for 5,000 years. When you light a candle, it gets instantly illuminated.
Mm.
So this was the other thing that I feel it's really important about the principles, to see that it doesn't matter how long you've been caught in your thoughts, because underneath everything that you see is something unshakable, something unchangeable,
Mm.
something that is always there. And if I have to say what are the two big things for me learning about this understanding was, first, how we create our experience, how we use thought to create our experience, and the second thing is to see that what is behind to see the nature of thought, to see behind the experience, and to see behind the experience is more of a feeling for me. It's you cannot you cannot really you cannot really talk about it. That's that's what it is, why it is confusing, because you cannot talk about sometimes I even think that probably I'm kidding myself, but it is, but I'm not. It's a it's an interesting thing. It's just an interesting thing.
Mm. And I think when we've been, around this understanding a little while, I mean, to me, it kind of looks like there is some kind of magic going on somewhere. You know, it's kind of like, and magic sounds crazy. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a serious word. And yet, you know, too often I have seen something that is beyond our mind has totally changed someone's life. And it's kind of like, I don't, like you're saying, I don't know what it is. I don't know. There aren't words to put on it. There aren't. And to me, it just looks like it's magic. That's how it works. It's magic. And I don't know quite how it does it. But somehow, when we get in this conversation, when we do this, and when we allow our minds to open a little bit and to allow life to flow through us in that way, this magic happens. And hey, it's fun. There is something. We're pointing towards something, and there's too much evidence in it from what happens to people to kind of doubt that there is something, and whatever word it is you use.
Well, yeah, it's an empirical knowledge that you can just check through your own experience the results of it.
Yeah.
And that's the best way, I think. One of the best ways is this, just to see, is it really helping people?
Mm.
Is it really helpful for you? And I feel like in the 3 principles, what I like is there is no room for bullshit. There is no room for kidding yourself, no room for lying or saying something you think you should know but you don't really know.
Mm.
You know?
Yep.
Because the magic is somewhere else. Like the magic is beyond that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It can be tempting sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just just really, especially at the beginning when I started learning about this like 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and what really struck me was the beautiful community that is. The beautiful community and the people in it, and also the thing that I was really looking for was, is somebody telling me to do something, or are they just showing me something? And it was like everyone that I was listening to was pointing me to see something for myself, not to listen to what they say.
Absolutely. What you see for yourself in this is what is helpful. That's what will change your life. And the only reason anybody ever shares their own experience is to kind of highlight what is available. It's kind of like, you know, saying insight is possible because I had this insight. Change is possible because I changed in this way. You know, that's been my experience. But it's not, so do what I did. It's kind of like, look to yourself and ask yourself those questions. You know, go inside you. What makes sense for you? Find this, you know, your inner guide that you were talking about. Find that. It's there. It's in you. Find it. Yeah, and that is it's hugely helpful. Hugely helpful.
Can I just share something? A lot I was thinking about. I wanted to share that. Last night I was having a really interesting dream, and I remember I was being in San Francisco. I don't know why. I just knew that I was there, but I knew that I shouldn't be there. It was like I felt like I missed my flight or something like that. And I remember I was looking through my wallet and I was checking how much money I have, and I was thinking in my head, I don't have anywhere to sleep. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I was checking in through my wallet and was wondering, what am I going to do with all this? What is happening? How am I going to get through this? And it was, what I remember from this dream was, I remember that even though happened, I remember this feeling, and I remember these words just coming through me. It was just like a really silent voice, a really low volume voice inside me that was saying to me, relax, just enjoy it. Don't worry about this. Just explore San Francisco. I don't know why I was there, but just just explore the city. Just explore. Just enjoy the ride. Don't think about this. It will all be, everything will be settled. You don't have to worry about this. And I feel like this is a this was it is just a really, for me, the whole day I was thinking about this, and for me it's a really good pointer to the internal guidance system
Yeah.
that that gets awakened.
Mm.
It's like it has always been working, but we kind of create more space for it.
Yeah. The noise calms down a little bit so we can hear it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to sort this out. It's okay. You can just enjoy the ride. It's fine. That's been beautiful. Thank you very, very much. You truly are a lovely people.
Do I earn the prize?
Definitely.
Because
Oh, we're
Beck
getting.
told me because Beck told me that there was a. I thought that by getting on this webinar, I'm becoming a lovely person, but she told me that I have to do a webinar to become a lovely person. So yes, she does like this. So I feel like
Yeah,
I've earned the prize.
you've
Okay,
got the approval. Yeah.
I can sleep well now tonight.
Yes, you can sleep tonight now, knowing that, safe in the knowing that you are a lovely person. It's been a delight and a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
It's been lovely.
I really enjoyed it too, and yeah, I love the opportunity to just open up and see what comes out.
You have a beautiful and very simple way of sharing, and it was very easy to listen to and very nice to be reminded. It's good. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, thank you very, very much. Oh yeah, Andrea has also said, thank you so much. That was beautiful and so very relaxing. And it was a lovely, relaxing, nice, fun webinar.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
For being here, and thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan. It really was. I really enjoyed listening to you. Brilliant. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Yeah. It was really lovely.